So San Francisco's shelter system is about 96% full. So city officials have a meeting. They get together and go, how can we alleviate the number of homeless in our fair city of San Francisco? What if we just put them on a bus and sent them away? No restrictions, no nothing. All that requirement about needing to meet somebody on the other side. Get on the bus, Gus. That's the plan. Put them on a bus. Away they go. That's the plan. Let's get into it. Here we go. So San Francisco is going to quietly lower the standards of the program, busing homeless out of town. Out of town. So literally, they've gotten to the point where, what do we do? We're trying to clear these homeless encampments because we didn't do that for years and years and years because we wanted to show our compassion for our fellow human being. That's not really working out all that well. They're just stacking up. These homeless people are just stacking up. I don't understand. We sweep them, they come back. We sweep them, they come back. San Francisco does not have one program that puts homeless people onto buses and sends them elsewhere. It has 3 because, of course, it does. Once again, we're reminded of S.R. Hatton's first rule in government spending. Why build 1 when you can have 2 at twice the price? Or 3. Why not 3? Except when it comes to the price, these programs' price tags are relatively infinitesimal, meaning, the world's your oyster, shenanigans for days. Not including staff costs, the price of putting a homeless person on a bus and sending them out of town is about $275 a pop. That is as cheap as you are going to get to ending homelessness in San Francisco. They're literally counting people getting on a bus as exiting homelessness. So for $275, oh, Bob's your uncle. This is the way to go. Just get them on a bus. We'll count that as exiting homeless. There you go. Now we got 923,421 homeless people in our community. Those are the costs, at least for the Journey Home program. Again, one of 3 the city has. But this is the program that's top of mind. And that's because on August 1st, Mayor London Breed issued the Journey Home executive order mandating that homeless people being swept off the streets will be offered a bus ticket out of town before being proffered shelter or other services or arrested. There's this massive push by Governor Newsom. I recorded a video just recently and he was like, all right, we've given you all the money. Now we're going to come down on local governments if they can't, in county governments. If you guys can't produce some results on sweeping these disgusting human beings that are homeless out, if you guys can't get some results, then, yeah, what are you going to do? He's going to withdraw. He's going to withhold money. He's gone down that route. Governor Newsom. Yeah. Journey Home, run jointly by the Department of Homelessness and Supportive Housing and the Human Services Agency, is a relatively new program initiated in September of last year. But San Francisco busing the homeless out of town is not new. Busing people out of town, busing homeless people from here to there has been going on forever. We've been hearing about this forever. Does it happen? Yeah. Do police officers in various cities and towns, do they sometimes put people on a bus and say, hey, city is willing to pay your ticket. Where you want to go? Oh, I really want to go home back to Denver. Okay, we'll get you on a bus and we'll go. We'll drop those pesky charges of whatever it was. We'll just get you out of the community. You're just shifting the problem to somewhere else. That is literally all you're doing. You're not ending homelessness because so many of these folks have drug addiction issues and they have mental health care issues that are not being taken care of. Sticking them on a bus is just like sticking them in housing. Doesn't really solve the issue. It just makes it not out on the sidewalk. Now you're in a tiny home. Now you're on a sidewalk in somebody else's city. Somebody else has to deal with it. We're going to talk about where they're being sent as well. You know what's crazy? Of the top 10 states, top 10 cities, Washington, Seattle is nowhere on that list. What's up with that? I feel slighted. I feel like we should be top 3. Send your people to Seattle. Seattle, they'll take anybody. And it's true. Between January of 2005 and January 2023, the city transported 11,232 homeless people out of San Francisco via the Homeward Bound program. which may or may not have been named after the Simon and Garfunkel tune. You know what I always say when I'm talking about this subject? Get on the bus, Gus. Get a new plan, Stan. That was a great song. I remember that. I remember thinking, what? 50 ways to leave your lover? What? Just a kid, you're just like, but I remember, get on the bus, Gus. Get a new plan, Stan. City officials stressed that Homeward Bound was not the crass Greyhound therapy of the sort that has resulted in so many out-of-state homeless people being funneled to San Francisco. Funneled in. Now they're doing the same thing out. In 2015, for example, the state of Nevada agreed to pay San Francisco $400,000 after city attorney Dennis Herrera filed suit over that state's longstanding practice of busing mental patients to San Francisco. Yeah. So they're crazy. They belong in an institution. They're whacked out on drugs. Let's send them to San Fran. They'll take them. They'll take anybody. Yeah. I mean, we jokingly say that. That has been reality. Lawsuit, right? In contrast, before a homeless individual was placed on a bus through Homeward Bound, city workers had contacted a family member or friend in that person's hometown who had to agree to offer housing and care. There used to be some qualifications to get on the bus, Gus. Yeah, they're so desperate now. Okay, we're at 96% capacity of shelter. What else can we do? Well, let's just get them on the bus and out of here, out of here, out of here. Yeah. So that little bus over there, that's going to take you to your new tiny home. And then what they don't tell them is it's a tiny home in another state. People wake up from their drug-induced whatever, and where am I? Oh, you're not in San Fran anymore. City workers also performed warrant checks to ensure that they weren't sending someone to a place where they had committed serious crimes. All right, let's do a little search for outstanding warrants. And finally, over the course of several months, workers called to check in and see how Homeward Bound participants were doing in their new old digs. What made Homeward Bound successful and meaningful, said a longtime city worker, is that you had to connect with family members on the back end willing to do the work to help these folks. Most folks, the vast majorities of stories and anecdotes that I have heard and I've been involved with personally interviewing homeless people, their families do not want them back. Period. The reason they left oftentimes is because they were booted out of the house. They were just kicked to the curb because they're making terrible life decisions that impact all the people in their family. And tough love dictates that at some point in time, you got to cut that bad part of your family out. If they're making those decisions, and maybe it's a mental health care issue and they're not willing to get help, they won't stay on their meds, whatever, they make the decision to hit the streets. We're in a society and we're in a time where you can't incarcerate people, whether it's in housing or treatment or mental care facility. You can't involuntarily do that because, one flew over the cuckoo's nest. So we're not doing that anymore. Journey home participants do not have friends or family in whatever town they're being sent to. Nobody needs to vouch for them and offer to provide housing or care. They simply need to provide a connection to somewhere else. This could be fulfilled with a former address. Where are you going? Well, that's where I used to live. Does anybody live there now that you know? No. All right. See that bus over there? Hop on that one. We'll get you a ticket. Right? I mean, they just want these people off their streets. San Francisco is desperate to clean things up because of years and years and years of sideways policy that ends up where you are, where San Francisco is now, right now. Just the journey home is specifically aimed at people who may be in the throes of drug addiction. So you're just going to get them a bus ride elsewhere and you're going to expect their family to open arms and say, here you go, Johnny. Love you, man. Let's get you to treatment. That is the most ridiculous thing ever. Because if you've worked with somebody who's deep in the throes of addiction, yeah, they don't want to go to treatment. They want to go on their next big run. right? I mean, am I right? I am right. And if somebody has an epiphany that street life in San Francisco is not for them, city workers may be able to act on that. Hey, you want to get on a bus and leave? Okay, yeah, here you go. Quick, before he changes his mind, get his ass on that bus. Department of Homelessness Supportive Housing spokesperson Emily Cohen says that it's conceivable that someone could opt in to journey home in the morning and be journeying home in the evening. It's unclear how this has happened, but it is possible. There's a lot of things that are possible in life. Not probable, but possible. I will give you that. In this event, no. Yeah, in the morning, want to be, I need to be going here. Journeying home in the evening. So often you will hear of people, I want to get into treatment. Absolutely. I need to get into treatment, but I need to do this, and this before. I can't make that transition before I do that. There's always these excuses of, I don't have anybody to help me. I got this cat. I got this girlfriend who lives on the streets with me too. We're both trying to get in at the same time. Always a bunch of excuses, never diving in. I shouldn't say never. Some people do make that choice to get going. An incredibly difficult choice because the drugs that you got out there right now are so addictive. You guys heard of the new term for fentanyl, soap? Yeah, well, anyway. While many homeless advocates reflexively recoil at busing programs, there's not enough shelter and housing for all who need it. And even if someone is lucky enough to receive housing, not everyone may want to live in a Tenderloin SRO, single room occupancy, if they have better opportunities elsewhere. Odds are, if you're in San Francisco and you're homeless, you don't have opportunities elsewhere. If someone doesn't want to be in San Francisco, it's often more humane and, let's face it, always more cost effective to pay them to go elsewhere. So they have literally dropped the requirements to basically nothing. Do you know where you're going? To this address. What do you know about that address? I used to live there. Okay. All right. Get on the bus, Gus. I mean, it's just this. It's unconscionable to put anybody on a bus with public money with no accountability that you're doing anything but pushing someone someplace else. That's all you're doing. You are changing the physical location of that person's issues, whatever they are. Still same issues, still same drug addiction, different city. Nice job, San Fran. Nice job. Yeah, but our shelter systems are full. So what do you want us to do? Yeah, that's the big kicker, right? That is the huge kicker. Where are you going to put these people? If it were just a matter of being homeless, a lot of this would not be an issue. But these people have so many other issues going on that just sticking them in a bus and moving them out of town, it literally, you're just shifting. You're doing a lateral motion with the same problem. It's not getting any better. But for San Francisco, they're so desperate because they've had so many years of just progressive policy that has said, we love our fellow human beings so much that we're willing to allow them to live wherever within our midst. We love them so much. Now, get them on an effing bus and get them the F out of here because this looks horrible. And this is having impact on so much in the city. We got to do something. It's a social experiment that has failed. Allowing homelessness, allowing open air drug culture, allowing drugs through the southern border to just proliferate, get super, super cheap. Doses now for 50 cents a pop. I mean, the numbers are just crazy, crazy. So now we got 3 programs in San Francisco, and they all require less than what they used to as far as getting people out. So, so they moved out 11,000 people. How many of those people, and that's over years and years and years, right? How many of those people came right back? Somebody got them a bus out of whatever town San Fran sent them to, and they went right back to San Fran. Do you know what? I have no idea, but what would you guess? I'd guess like 35%. Yeah, get me back to San Fran. At least I know where my drugs are coming from there. I don't know this new town at all, and I'm not feeling good. I need another hit of Fetty. Mayor issues homeless order, bus tickets before anything else. The shelter's near full. This is what London Breed has come up with. Okay. In her defense, she is doing the sweeps hard. She's doing the sweeps hard. but it doesn't do anything. You're literally sweeping the issue under the rug, but not really, because the issue never goes away. These people don't go away. Their physical encampment might go away for a day or two, but they are back. They're back. Yeah, because the addiction and the mental issues and whatever else it is, those don't go away. Getting them on a bus, putting them away, I mean, you're treading water. You're treading water. We all know it. But, it's one of those things where, hey, look, crime is down. When in reality, you feel that crime has gone way up. But you get to a point where nobody's reporting it because it's so commonplace. Crime's down. I told you, crime's down. Yeah. How's that working out? With shelters near capacity and aggressive encampment sweeps underway, many wonder what the city's plan is to address the homelessness crisis. Thus, the answer so far? Bus tickets. Yeah. But you're excited if you're, one of those towns that's on the tippy top list of where San Fran sends people. Hey, we got some new visitors. We got some new tourists coming into town. Oh, yeah, they look like they're on the lower socioeconomic end of tour. Oh, yeah, homeless people bust in from San Fran. Thanks, city of brotherly love. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, these people got to be somewhere. And this whole notion that if you just give them a bus ticket, maybe they'll go home and they'll sort themselves out. I mean, that is wishful thinking at best. Wishful thinking at best. Mayor London Breed issued an executive order Thursday directing all city workers to offer homeless people trips out of town before providing any other services such as housing or shelter. I wonder what percentage of the homeless before they're swept out from their encampment that they're living in illegally. Wonder what percentage accept a bus ride elsewhere. I mean, you got to get all your stuff together. You got to say goodbye to all the other homeless people. I mean, you got to take that last crap on the public street, at 11 o'clock at night and just leave your mark. I mean, you got a lot of things to do before you can just get on the bus, Gus, and go. Right? I mean, you don't just get on the bus and go. I mean, Breed said that the number of homeless people moving to San Francisco from other states and California counties increased from 28% in 19 to 40% of the total homeless population this year. Of those surveyed, 37% who were previously housed said they lived in San Francisco for less than a year when they became homeless, up from 15% in 19. So you've got all these stats. Bottom line is the homeless tend to congregate in areas where they've got a ton of support. So you need a clean needle? Yep, got you covered. Need a blanket to literally cover you when things get a little chilly? We got you. You need a tent? Oh, we're all yours. Food? You betcha. We got you covered with food. 10 ways from Sunday. You bet. You bet. Yeah, treatment? Well, I mean, yeah, only when you're ready. Only when you're ready, we'll get you into treatment. Because it's expensive and they don't have the resources to do it. Plus, most folks just don't want to go into treatment. They just don't want that. They want their own little tiny home because they're tired of living on the streets. But when it comes down to, accepting shelter, and shelter often is a congregate shelter, they're hearing more and more stories about the illegal immigrants living in tents on the public streets because the shelters are so brutal. And you know what? You put a whole bunch of people in a shelter system, they're half of them whacked out on drugs or, it's not going to be safe. It's not going to be sanitary. It's going to be close quarters. San Francisco's program to send homeless people out of town, which ramped up Thursday with an order from Mayor London Breed, is nothing new. It's just now they got 3 programs and there's basically no barrier of entry to where you're going. There's no requirement. You tell them anything. They don't care because their job, get on the bus, Gus, right? So crazy. All right. So here's that article where San Francisco is, where we're talking about where people are going. Let's get down to the good stuff here. Okay. By state, here is where people are taking their bus ride out of San Francisco on the Journey Home program. Journey Home. Well, nobody wants you at home, so it's not really home. It should say Journey away from San Francisco. I'd buy that. That's truth in marketing. This Journey Home, these people have no home. Otherwise, they'd be living in their home, and they're not living there. They're living in the streets in San Francisco. So, hence, All right. So where do they want to go? They want to go to other cities in California. Humboldt County, Northern California. A lot of them come from there because they're going somewhere else, going a little, wherever to San Fran. Oregon, number 2. Is that shocking? No, it's not. Portland, you betcha. You betcha. Nevada, number 3. Texas, number 4. Ohio, 5. Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana. Where's Washington State in there? I am underrepresented here. I would have thought we'd be top 4 or 5. So what's the anomaly there? Homeless stay here because it's so conducive to being homeless that nobody leaves Washington, goes away, San Fran, and then needs a bus ride back. Is that what it is? If that was the case, you'd think that Oregon would be off the list as well. But no, Oregon's number 2. Numero dos. So the city started Journey Home as part of a multi-agents drug crackdown, adding it to an array of problem solving. Just stick them on a bus and get them the F out of here. So here's the bottom line. In June, the waiting list for shelter was 12 days, as most available beds are typically kept open for emergency admissions. Shelters were at 93% capacity as of Monday morning. There you go. They're tapped out. They are tapped out and there's no other real options. You don't have a short-term solution to this very long-term complex problem. And the complex problem, a lot of it has to do with policy where you've allowed this to take place. You've allowed people to live wherever the F they want, including your sidewalks, streets, parks, whatever. And now all of a sudden you're going to clean that up. These are people. They don't just go away. They don't just move down the block and then not come back. That's exactly what they do. So what are you going to do? You're just going to play this endless game of, it's whack-a-mole, right? We used to talk about that a lot. You whack them, this hole here, and then they pop up over here, and, they go another 2 blocks over here where you haven't swept that out. We sweep them here, and then boop, we bonk them over here, and they pop up over here. I mean, literally, it's whack-a-mole. This is whack-a-mole by bus. Get on the bus, Gus. I don't see it any different. And this isn't going to work. What you're doing is you are just creating motion for the sake of motion, and it doesn't have any long-term positive impacts because none of this is meant to have long-term positive impacts other than just get them the F out. Don't care what you do with them, but get them the F out because that is needed. But there's also so much of this long-term coordinated help that a lot of these folks need on top of not enabling them to just live this lifestyle. So one of the few things I do agree with in this homeless sweeps saga that we're in right now, and if you don't know about that, California is going ham with the homeless sweeps. A lot of other cities are because they've realized, hey, you know what? Letting people live just willy-nilly, doing their shenanigans wherever. You know what? I got to admit, that is not the best decision as a municipality that we've ever had. And so they're coming up with all these things in San Francisco on a large scale because it represents so many homeless folks on top of Los Angeles. I mean, how many homeless folks do you have there? Thousands, cities full of homeless folks. So what do? Try and get them on a bus. And if the requirements are too high for getting them on the bus, reduce the requirements. Get them on the bus no matter what. That's what San Fran's doing right now. How's that going to work out? Yeah, not all that great, but we'll be here to report on it. Make sure you're subscribed, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. And I'll see you on the next segment because this issue isn't going away and it's certainly not being solved by that bus over there. That's for you. Not happening. All right. Thanks again for watching. I'll catch up with you in the next episode. Bye for now.